Hello, my friend. I'm so happy you are here with me today. You made a great choice because today we are going to learn English in a fun, relaxing, and powerful way. You will not only listen to English, you will also speak it with me. We will use something called the shadowing technique. It's very simple. First, you listen to me. Then, you repeat exactly what I say. Try to copy my tone, my speed, and my pronunciation, just like a shadow that follows you everywhere. Your voice will follow mine. This is how you will sound more natural and confident in English. And today's story is a beautiful one. It is about friendship, love, and courage. It's called the forest trip. You will meet 4 best friends, 2 boys and 2 girls. They go on a hiking trip to a mountain called Misty Hill. At first, everything is fun, but then the trip turns into an unexpected adventure. There will be surprises, danger, and moments that will make your heart warm. And yes, maybe even a little romance. While you listen, imagine the scenes in your mind. Feel the cool air of the forest. Hear the birds singing. Smell the fresh grass after the rain. This will help you remember the English words better. Now, let's begin. My name is New. I am 17 years old, and I go to school in a small town. I have 3 best friends. 2 of them are boys, Kavi and Thielen. One is a girl, Rumi. We are always together. We laugh together. We study together. We share everything. One sunny afternoon, Rumi came to me with a big smile. "Nu, why don't we go on a trip?" she said. "A trip?" I asked. "Yes," she laughed. "Let's go hiking. Maybe to a mountain. There's one called Misty Hill. I heard it has a beautiful forest." Before I could answer, Thylon smiled and said, "I'm in." Kavi looked at me. "What do you think?" "Nu." My heart felt warm. I love nature. I love walking between tall trees. But this time, I was extra happy because Kavi would come too. Kavi is quiet, but he is smart, kind, and strong. I have liked him for a long time, but I never told him. I didn't know if he liked me back. Rumi looked at me with a little. That day, after school, Kavi walked with me. "You like forest trips?" he asked. "Yes, very much," I replied. "I brought snacks for us," he said, and he gave me my favorite biscuits. I couldn't stop smiling. We planned everything. We packed food, water, jackets, and a small tent. On the morning of the trip, Rumi's father drove us to the base of the mountain. The place was beautiful. The air was cool. Birds were singing. Leaves moved gently in the wind. We started walking, laughing, and singing songs. Thalon took photos. Rumi danced. Kavi walked beside me, carrying my bag. Every time I looked at him, he smiled. We walked deeper into the forest. It was green and quiet. The only sounds were the birds and the soft steps of our shoes on the ground. After a few hours, we reached a small waterfall. The water sparkled in the sunlight. We ate lunch there. Then Kavi said, "Let's build the tent here and rest for the night." We set up the tent and made a small fire. The 4 of us sat together, talking about school, our dreams, and even love. Rumi looked at me and asked with a playful smile, "Nu, if you could marry someone from our school, who would it be?" I laughed nervously. My eyes looked at Kavi for just a second. He looked back at me, but neither of us said anything. That night, the air was cold. I couldn't sleep, so I went outside and sat near the fire. To my surprise, Kavi was already there. "Cold night, isn't it?" he said. "Yes." I smiled and sat closer to him. For a moment, we were both quiet. Then he turned to me and said softly, "Nu, can I tell you something?" "Yes, I have liked you for a long time." My heart skipped a beat. I looked into his eyes. "I like you too," I whispered. KV smiled. I smiled back. We didn't say anything else. But I knew this was the most beautiful night of my life. The next morning, sunlight touched the trees. The forest was fresh and bright. Birds were singing happily again. I woke up feeling light and warm inside. Something had changed between me and Kavi. Thalen was already making tea over the fire. Rumi was brushing her hair. Using a small mirror, Kavi came out of the tent, looked at me, and smiled. I smiled back. It felt different now. We didn't have to say anything. We both knew how we felt. Rumi walked over and whispered in my ear, "So, something happened last night." My cheeks turned pink. I nodded slowly. She laughed and gave me a big hug. I knew it. After breakfast, we packed our bags. Kavi looked at the mountain and said, "There's a cave near the top. Let's go see it." "That sounds exciting," Thielen said. We all agreed. The path became narrower as we climbed higher. Tall trees surrounded us on both sides. The air was cooler now, and we had no phone signal. It felt like we were far from the rest of the world. We walked carefully, stepping over roots and rocks. Rumi told jokes. Thalen took more photos. I listened to Kavi talking about the mountains he had visited before. His voice was calm and steady. It made me feel safe. Then, far away, I saw dark clouds moving toward us. The wind started to grow stronger. Leaves shook in the air. "Looks like rain is coming," Kavi said. We walked faster, but after only 10 minutes, heavy rain began to fall. We ran under a group of big trees, but the rain was too strong. Water soaked our clothes and bags. The ground became slippery. Suddenly, Rumi's foot slipped. She cried. Kavi rushed to her side and held her hand. "Careful," he said, helping her stand up. By now, everything was wet. Our snacks, our jackets even. My hair was dripping. Kavi shook his head. "We can't go to the cave now. It's too dangerous." Thalon pointed up the hill. "There's a small hut somewhere nearby. I saw it when we started climbing." "That's good." Rumi said, "Let's go there." But when we looked around, the path we had been following was gone. The rain had covered it. Every direction looked the same: trees, bushes, and wet ground. "We're lost," Thalen said quietly. I felt my heart beat faster. "What do we do now?" I asked, trying to stay calm. Kavi came close to me. "Don't worry," he said gently. "I'll keep you safe." We decided to walk in one direction, hoping to find the hut. The rain slowed down, but the forest was darker now. The sky was gray. After a while, Rumi stopped walking. "I think I've seen that tree before," she said. Thalen looked around. "Yes, we're walking in circles." I felt cold and tired. My shoes were heavy with mud. I wanted to cry, but I told myself to be strong. Suddenly, a low growl came from somewhere close. We all froze. "What was that? Phelan whispered. The sound came again, deeper this time. It might be a wild boar, Cavi said, stepping in front of us. His eyes searched the trees. Something moved in the bushes. Then it disappeared. My hands felt cold, but I stayed close to Cavi. We need to find shelter. Now, Rumi said. We kept walking quickly, and finally, we saw an old wooden hut between the trees. The walls were broken in some places, and the roof had holes, but it was better than staying outside. We ran inside. The floor was covered with dry leaves. Thalan closed the door as best as he could. We sat on the leaves to rest. Kavi took off his jacket and put it around my shoulders. I'm okay, I said. No, you'll catch a cold, he replied firmly. Rumi tried to light a small fire in the middle of the hut. Her hands shook a little, but she kept working. Then, outside, we heard a sharp crack, then another, the sound of branches breaking. So we all froze. From the doorway, a wild dog suddenly appeared, barking loudly. Its eyes were sharp. Its teeth showed. Thalen grabbed a long stick from the floor. Kavi stood up and stepped forward. He looked straight into the dog's eyes and shouted loudly. The dog stopped for a second. Then it turned and ran away into the forest. We all let out a deep breath. You were brave, I told KV. I had to protect you, he said with a small smile. The rain had stopped outside, but we decided to stay in the hut until morning. We were safe for now, but the night was not over yet. The rain had stopped, but the forest was still wet and dark. The air inside the hut felt cold, but it was safer than being outside. The old wooden walls creaked when the wind blew. Rumi finally got the fire to burn. It was small, but the light and warmth made us feel better. Thalen sat near the door, listening for any sound outside. I could still hear the wild dog's bark in my mind, and my heart beat faster every time a branch cracked in the distance. We tried to dry our jackets and shoes near the fire. Steam rose slowly from the wet fabric. Kavi sat beside me, watching the flames. His jacket was still around my shoulders. No, he said quietly. I was so scared today. Scared to lose you. I looked at him. His eyes were serious, but soft. I feel the same, I whispered. He reached for my hand. His fingers were warm even in the cold air. I never want to be away from you, he said. Tears filled my eyes, not from fear, but from happiness. I will wait for you, I told him. And I will tell my parents about you after we finish school, he replied. We didn't speak after that. We just sat close together, listening to the crackle of the fire, feeling safe for the first time since the rain started. Rumi and Thielen slowly drifted to sleep, their heads resting on their backpacks. The forest outside was quiet again. The only sounds were the gentle wind and the fire's soft popping. Time passed slowly. Every now and then, I looked at Kavi's face in the firelight. He looked calm, but I knew he was still alert, ready to protect us if anything happened. Later that night, I woke up to the sound of raindrops hitting the broken roof. A few drops fell on my hand. I moved closer to Kavi to keep warm. He opened his eyes and gave me a sleepy smile. You should sleep, he whispered. I will now, I replied, and I did. When morning came, the forest looked completely different. Sunlight poured through the trees, making the wet leaves shine. The air was fresh and clean. filled with the smell of earth and plants. We packed our bags quickly. Our clothes were still damp, but we didn't care. We wanted to get back to the main path before the weather changed again. Kavi pulled out a small compass from his bag. "We'll head east," he said. "The main trail should be that way." We trusted him and began walking. The path was still muddy, and sometimes our shoes sank into the soft ground. But the sunlight made everything feel lighter. We talked more as we walked, even laughing about the wild dog. After about 2 hours, we saw something familiar, a signpost we had passed the day before. We shouted with joy. Yes, we found the path. Rumi cheered. Kavi smiled at me, and I felt relief wash over me. We were safe. We walked faster now. Soon, Rumi's phone had a signal again. She called her father, and within an hour, he came to pick us up. On the way home, I sat next to Kavi in the car. My head rested on his shoulder. "We're not just friends now," he whispered. I smiled and nodded. The car ride back to town felt quiet and peaceful. The rain, the cold, the fear, it all seemed far away now. I could still smell the fresh forest air on my clothes. My head rested on Kavi's shoulder, and I felt safe. When we reached Rumi's house, her father dropped us off one by one. Rumi waved goodbye, her smile wide and warm. Thalen gave a small nod, the way he always does, but I noticed he smiled more than usual. Maybe the trip had changed him too. Kavi walked me to my door. We stood there for a moment, not wanting to say goodbye. "See you at school," he said softly.